Hello, folks. Happy Friday and welcome. I'm in my studio today because there's just an awful lot of banging going on out front. I'll have to send you some photos. I find it fascinating. If I wasn't distracted trying to write songs all day, I would be out there watching them dig up the street and uncover, everything hidden below the streets of New York City. It is really amazing. And the guys are taking their jobs very seriously. I bought them a couple of boxes of chocolate chip cookies to cheer them up because it was really bad weather yesterday and they were working so hard. But they are really so focused, and I think the work is a bit more dangerous than it might look. I mean, there's all this kind of heavy equipment and machinery, and I hope they're going to let me drive the excavator. Anyway, so please let me know you're here. Put a little message in the comments and let me know if you have had your COVID vaccine yet. Because guess what? I had mine this morning. Yep. So I have a story about that one. It seems that we waited a long time to get our first vaccine. I've been trying for several weeks, but it's just, I'm on a waiting list with 500 people before me. But today was the day we had the appointment and we went. The hardest part, I think, was getting up at 5:30 this morning to be at Jacob Javits Convention Center by 7. What an operation they've got there. It's incredible. First of all, the Jacob Javits Center, it takes up 4 city blocks. The place is enormous. We were using it for hospitals in the beginning of COVID, but now they've turned it into this enormous vaccination center. The National Guard is there. We saw state troopers. So it was pretty funny. There's this massive wind coming up 8th Avenue, so it was quite fitting that we had to put a lot of effort to move against the headwind, but we got there, and everything is so well organized. They have everything. It's sort of like Disney in a way. Everything is marked and instructions, every state trooper after state trooper to tell you where to go and what not to do, like no videos and photos. Sorry about that. But it's really amazing. Then they check you in one section, and then you go through a whole nother maze to get to the next section, and then you go and you wait for to be called for the vaccine. It's just amazing. And I have to tell you, Will is not afraid of a lot of stuff. Okay, he's not. He rides a motorcycle, he skis like a maniac. We rescue pit bulls, but the sight of a needle absolutely terrifies him. I think he would rather do anything in the world other than to get a shot. So, of course, when they call us, who does Will get? The most tremendous man, dressed in army fatigues. He's with the National Guard, and he looks formidable, and he looks like he's gonna hurt Will. And I whispered to him, and his name is Reginald, and I said, you might have a problem because Will has been known to faint. And I said, just do what you can because he's a little nervous. And he was so calm. He just like, I've got this, don't worry. So we both sat down, got our jabs. Beautiful. We get up, say thank you, walk away. Will says to me, I don't think he gave it to me. I felt nothing. I was like, what? He said, no, I don't think he did it. So I had to go back, embarrass myself, and tell him, excuse me, Reginald, this is going to be the stupidest question anyone has ever asked you, but did you actually give him the injection? Because he felt nothing. And he said, I did. I said, all of it? He said, yes, I did, ma'am. And I said, how did you do that? He said, 30 years as a military nurse. I know what I'm doing. That was it. So then they send us into the next area, this section where you sit in rows and wait until hopefully nothing happens. And would you believe they've got pianos set up in there? Yeah. In fact, musicians have been coming by and just sitting down and playing, entertaining people. So there was no one at the piano near me. They had hand sanitizer and everything. So I sat down and I just started, just playing, just random ideas, songwriting mode. And I look up and there's a group of people like, thank you so much. They thought I was actually there just to play piano. I explained I'm actually recovering from the injection. So it was really a great experience, and we get to do it all over again in 3 weeks. So folks, if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, I highly recommend you do it. I mean, I think we have to listen to the doctors, not the politicians. So make up your own mind, but I'm happy that I did it. So, did you guys know that today is World Sleep Day? Did you know there was even such a thing, that we need such a thing? Seems like we're all sleep deprived. So now there's actually an organization, I know it's been running for a dozen or so years, to help promote the idea of healthy sleep. And why is that necessary? Because of all the distractions that we've had in our lives. So the purpose of World Sleep Day is to help raise awareness of the importance of sleep, and that it's a human privilege that's often compromised by the habits of modern day life. Now that's interesting. I never thought of sleep as a privilege. I tend to think of it more as an interruption to the work that I need to do. I mean, I'd be very happy if I only needed 2 hours sleep. It's not the case. But, you think about spending a third of our lives sleeping, but there is a reason. And, well, I'll get to that later, but what was really fascinating is all of the sleep innovations that have happened over the course of human history. And I mean, things I had no idea. Did you know that in the 1800s, people broke sleep into 2 different halves? So they would go to sleep from dusk to midnight, wake up, have some snacks, hang out with family or friends or livestock, pets, whatever, and then go back to sleep for the next section until sunrise. Isn't that interesting? And back then, because the homes were rather cold, communal sleeping was the way to go. That's how you could get a good night's sleep. In the bed with the in-laws, with pets, that I can understand, but livestock? Pigs in the bed? Okay, I know what you're saying. I know there is a pig that lives in Brooklyn here, not just a few blocks away, and he is very clean and they're very intelligent. Okay. But I'm just thinking I know with my dogs, when they get into the bed, they go from being, 55 pounds to these huge beasts that look like they're 150 pounds. They expand, their bodies expand when they hit a mattress. It's just a law of nature somehow. So imagine these how big these little pigs would get. And cows? All right, that's something I'll have to sleep on. So, and then to think about, so you got all these people in the bed, and they didn't have mattresses like we have now. It was only the Egyptians who raised beds off the ground, and it wasn't really for comfort. it was for critter control. So, yeah, the Egyptians felt the same way I do about spiders and other little friends. All right, I have a mouse. I have a mouse. I'm just waiting for warmer weather before I let him out. I have a perfect place for him in the park. So we're coexisting in the meantime. But yeah, I'm happy that he's very happy to stay in the kitchen. Normally when I'm not there, he hasn't found his way into the bedroom because I can't raise the bed high enough to sleep well at night if I ever saw him there. So, but then, did you know, for 200 years in the 1800s, thanks to Victorian morality, couples were separated. Couples had to sleep in separate beds, like being quarantined in a way. For 200 years. But fortunately, after World War II and the economic boom, that brought royal comfort into the homes of middle class, and people were able to afford queen and king size beds, and even California king, which is really enormous. We don't even have rooms that big here in New York City. But finally couples were reunited. So, and then in the 70s, sleep actually became a science because they could start poking around, examining our brain activity and figuring out what's actually happening. Do you ever wonder what's happening to your brain when you're sleeping? I mean, I'm wondering what's happening to my brain right now. But, you know, if the question they're asking is, can you learn when you're sleeping? And I think I figured this out a long time ago. And I would say, yes, absolutely. There are so many problems that I've been able to solve through my subconscious sleeping that when I wake up, you know, that's the expression, sleep on it. There's a reason. Because we are processing information as we're sleeping. You wake up and everything seems so much clearer. I even used to listen to my favorite singers, Billie Holiday, Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Nat King Cole. I used to go to sleep listening to them sing with headphones in the bed so that I would hope my subconscious would learn the phrasing and all the nuances that they would do. And yeah, I did that for a long time, and I do believe there's something to it. But that's, maybe this is being over ambitious to want to learn when we're sleeping, but why not? What great time management, right? I don't think we're going to be able to learn a new skill that we've never done before, but what they know is that when we're sleeping, this is a critical time for long-term memory to be forged into from our short-term to our permanent memory areas of the brain. I mean, it's really fascinating, but that is one of the most important things about sleep. It's like the brain does this incredible filing management that happens when we're sleeping. So I know and they even say, try to learn something new at night right before you go to bed. Studies show that you have much greater retention on those skills, whether it be language or even learning to play an instrument. Interesting. So try it. See what happens if you spend some time in the evening before you go to bed trying to learn something that maybe has been more difficult to grasp. So yeah, good things to sleep on. So yeah, a lot they know through all kinds of MRIs and EKGs, they can see that stuff is happening in the hippocampus where the short-term memory is stored. So what happens when we're sleeping, the brain goes through all the events of the day and then decides where to section off all the different memories, which ones are disposable and which ones you want to hold on to. And it has all different regions of the brain where it deposits stuff. Fascinating. So with so much hinging on a good night's sleep, I hope you have good dreams. Next week, I'm going to start this new series. There's been a lot of questions that have come in, and I need more time to organize all the different questions. So what I'm going to do is a few sessions on how I went from Empire Boulevard in Queens to the Queen's Empire in the United Kingdom. So if you haven't yet, feel free, send in any questions that you might have about how I got somewhere or did something, or how the hell something came about, whatever you can think of. Nothing is off limits. So send in any questions at all. And I'm organizing all that, and we'll spend maybe the next 2 or 3 sessions on that. Okay, and I hope you'll find it inspiring and humorous and insightful. So, my friends, thank you very much for spending this time with me. I will see you next Friday. Send your questions into info@sarischorr.com. Go get your jabs. If you have, let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know who's been vaccinated, okay? And let me know, how was the experience for you, okay? And have a good night's sleep tonight, folks, and I will see you next Friday. Bye for now.